about the mini grant process itself. So we are going to talk a little bit about the intent of the funding, where the funding is coming from, what our goals are for the project, and then go over the timeline for the immediate future for the application process itself. And then we're gonna, yes, you can share the video. I'll send it out to everyone who registered. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our projects. So what types of projects we're looking for. You know, we want this to be a really low barrier, but we also want it to be creative for you and be excited about doing these projects. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then, you know, the last thing we'll be doing is the Q&A section. All right, so we do have a little bit, we have a pretty good group here today. I don't think we'll have time, unfortunately, for everyone to go around and introduce themselves, but if you would, we'd love to know who's here tonight and what organization you're representing. So if you just want to drop your name, your role, and your organization in the chat so we know who's all joining us today. And then we'll give you a little bit of time to do that. Hi, Michelle, Steph, Megan, Kitsap County, Robin. Yeah, so it looks like we have a lot of people here from, you know, representing different organizations in the community, which we're really excited about. There's some people I recognize, but also some people I don't, which is exciting because this is something that we're excited to learn, you know, different organizations and different partners and build relationships through this. So we're really excited to have you here tonight. All right. Oops. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover tonight is the intent of the funding. So the funding for this mini grant project is funded through the State Department of Health program, and it's through the Youth Cannabis Commercial Tobacco Prevention Program, which is also known as YCCTPP. And basically through this program, the state, Kitsap Public Health is funded to provide youth cannabis and commercial tobacco prevention activities throughout Kitsap, Column, and Jefferson County. So we work regionally. You know what? I should have probably introduced myself. I don't think I did that. So let me do that really quickly. My name is Sydney Morales. I am the Commercial Tobacco Coordinator with Kitsap Public Health District. And so I work regionally in the Olympic region for Kitsap, Column, and Jefferson on providing commercial tobacco prevention activities. And I also have a few people here on our team. Megan, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, everybody. Megan Moore. I am partners with Sydney in this work and the grant manager for the region.
All right. Sorry about that. I probably should have done that a little bit earlier.
One thing I put in the chat, but I just want to make sure I say out loud is if anyone has questions, please feel free to put them in the chat at any time. Do you want questions, like clarifying questions throughout, Sydney, and then wait till the end for more Q&A?
Yeah, any clarifying questions I think we can cover during the presentation, but if there's any specific topic that you have, we can wait till the end.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. So yes, the funding is through the State Department of Health program, and so we through this program, we offer youth cannabis and commercial prevention activities, and so that is what the mini grants is through. And although like our long-term goal for this project is to reduce youth substance use rates, but ultimately for the mini goals right now, we really are just looking to build community with different organizations in Kitsap County. So we're hoping to build relationships and with organizations who are already working with youth and doing work in the community. And that kind of plays into the last question here about how funding community partners helps to reduce youth substance use. So through our grant at Kitsap Public Health, we kind of do more upstream factors, upstream prevention, but a lot of organizations, a lot of you are providing more direct services or direct activities to youth. And so rather than us doing something alone, we're really looking to work together and have more of a collective impact on preventing youth substance use. And while some of your organizations might be specifically focused on youth substance use, a lot of them probably are not. But you're still doing a lot of work that goes into preventing these substance use. So you're still probably promoting protective factors, and those are things that balance out the risk factors that youth might have for substance use. So it could be something like building healthy coping skills, or offering after-school activities, offering opportunities for engaging youth in their school and community. So there are probably a lot of things that you're already doing, and so we're looking to continue building relationships and working together to address this. Is there anything, Megan, you want to add, or any questions that anyone has? So next we'll briefly go over our timeline, and this is specifically for the application process timeline. So right now we were here November 7th, the information session. So hopefully after today you'll have most of your questions answered, any concerns you have addressed, and then going forward you'll have just over a month to submit your applications. So those will be due on December 15th. And in the meantime, if there's anything that comes up or that isn't answered today, please reach out to me. I will be the main point of contact for the mini grants. You can also reach out to Megan as well if you have any questions or need any assistance in filling out your application. And so those are due December 15th. So following that, our internal review process will begin on December 16th. This will be about a month-long process. And in your application on pages 2 and 3, there's a table with the scoring criteria that we will be using to basically grade your application and score your application. And I'm not going to go into super detail over those because they're in the application, but if you have any questions, we can talk about that as well. But there are 4 criteria, and they are youth-focused, equity, budget, and clarity. And so we're going to be using those. It's going to be me, Megan, Dana, manager. We're going to be going over the applications during that month-long time into the new year. And then the week of January 16th, we will be announcing the awards. So about just over 2 months from now, you will know who is getting funding. So hopefully it doesn't cause anyone too much stress. I hope it's a really low barrier, straightforward process for you. And then in the future, anyone who does receive funding, those projects need to be completed by June of 2023, June 15th of 2023. Does anyone have any questions about this timeline? All right. And this is the last slide that we have. So the rest of the time tonight is just going to be talking about any questions you have or sharing ideas. But this is the last thing I wanted to cover tonight. So what kind of projects are things that you can provide? So there really aren't many requirements that you need to have other than that it should be youth focused. So while we do appreciate if you are looking to do an event for the community as a whole, this specifically needs to be youth focused, youth that are in your community and in your youth group, and focused on promoting those protective factors. And so another aspect of that is how are you incorporating youth voice in the decision making? So we really are, there's a section in the application that will go through this. We're really interested to know how are youth being involved in the decision making process? How are they being involved in the planning as well as the implementation? So we'd love to know how youth are, are their ideas being considered? What is their role in this? All right, and so some examples are really helpful. I know when we say youth-focused activities that promote protective factors, that's sometimes like, what is that? So we are giving special consideration to any opportunities for youth to engage with policymakers. So this can be at the state or local level. And it could look really differently. Some examples could be you're going to plan a trip for the youth in your youth group to go to Olympia, for the state, to go to the state capitol for Prevention Policy Day or another policy day that your youth are interested in. So it could be something like that, but it could also be inviting a local decision maker to your youth group to have discussions with your youth. So that could be, someone on your school board, on your tribal council. It could look really differently based on what the youth in your community also are interested in. And then another thing we're looking for is developing healthy coping skills. So this is also an area where you could get really creative. An example is, I believe it was during COVID, another project in Washington did some mini grants, and during COVID they hosted some virtual cooking classes, and youth were invited, I believe, their parents to come to the virtual cooking class. They bought all of the supplies and learned how to cook a meal together. So that's just one example of what developing healthy cooking skills is like. And again, just stressing this is what are things that your youth are interested in. And then finally, building leadership skills. So examples of this could be youth voice trainings, teaching youth how to talk with their policymakers or talk to any leaders in their community. And then again, with this, building leadership skills, are youth being given a leadership role in planning your project? That's also something that you could know in your application. Megan, do you have any other examples, or does anyone have any questions? I'm putting Megan on the spot.
We're trying to keep it very low barrier. So I know that Sydney said that, but so that's why it may feel a little vague in terms of what the projects are. We really want you and the youth to develop these projects, and really anything that brings youth together, and especially projects that develop leadership skills. And beyond that, that's really our main focus. Sorry if it's vague, but it's a bit intended to be.
Yeah, I have a few questions. I have a lot that just came to my mind. So the first, I believe I read the grants are up to $3,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I serve the entire region, and I have staff in almost every single secondary school. So I see multiple sites. I've in the back of my mind some different projects, but I'm guessing you don't want to award multiple grants to the same agency. Is that correct? Would you want staff to write it on behalf of their school building?
Yeah, that could work. We probably wouldn't go with more than one grant because we only have so much funding to offer this as a pilot program, so we're starting off small right now. So yeah, if the staff of whatever building or whatever project you have in mind want to do that,
that would be difficult because we do the fiscal issue. The reality school would want to take on. Does that make sense? The project and what it entails, we would. So I'm wondering if I were to brainstorm 3 to 5 ideas, could I pass them to you all? And I'm like, these are the 5 applications I'm considering writing. Like again, I don't want to try to go after all the dollars. So what would make sense? Like, what are you, does that, I don't know. Because I have really a very, I have one school that's looking to do like a recovery cafe, but not in the traditional recovery, kind of more on the prevention side, or are you looking to make changes in your life kind of thing? All the way to like a social norms campaign, because we don't, although we fund SAPs, most of our funding doesn't allow for those promotional items and not engage, So very broadly different ideas. So just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and Michelle and others, I just want to let you know that these specific funds are staying in Kitsap for the mini grants that Sydney is talking about. But our partners at Jefferson Public Health will be offering the same exact program in Jefferson and Clallam counties.
Okay, that's helpful.
Those are coming soon. This specific night is only open to Kitsap, so think of Kitsap schools. And one thing that they were thinking of in Jefferson County, like the media club wanted some equipment. And with the limitations of our specific grant, where this funding is coming, it's a policy systems grant. So we can't really just purchase equipment, but if that equipment was purchased to do like a youth voice project or like a youth, I don't know, where you kind of do like a social norms camp, like you're saying, Michelle, to do, if there's like a specific program that we can kind of show, they make like a little video about what's important to them in their lives. That's great. And then the media equipment could be purchased for that club if there was like a project or an event that they were going to associate it with.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I think if you send a few project ideas, Michelle, then we can definitely work with
Well, and
them.
the other thing, just as initially I thought when I read it, I wouldn't be able to apply because of our work, but now as you're describing kind of the broad nature of it, I think we definitely could. The other, and I'm forgetting the curriculum name because I just thought of it right now, but there's a curriculum. It's really teaching teens how to be leaders around mental health. And how do you care for your friends? So I know it's an offshoot, it's not substance use prevention, but there's a huge correlation between mental health and substance use. Do you think that could possibly be appropriate to train teens to do kind of that leadership training?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Another note is your project doesn't have to be surrounding substance use prevention either. You can get really creative. It doesn't have to specifically focus on that. Hey, it looks like you have a question. See your hand up.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good, thank you. So I'm just checking in on Celebrate Recovery. So it's hosted at a faith-based organization, but Celebrate Recovery is in itself not faith-based. It's a program that's open to the entire community. Is that okay? Is that something that would be funded under that? It's just housed at a church.
So you're asking, can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
So Celebrate Recovery is a program and it's housed in the church, but Celebrate Recovery itself is not church based. And so we're looking at possibly doing a program for the youth of the parents in Celebrate Recovery. Once again, it's open to the entire community. It doesn't matter any faith, that they believe in. It doesn't matter. It's relevant to that. So would this be something that would be appropriate for your program?
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with the Celebrate Recovery program, but if it's sounding like it's open to adults as well, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, Celebrate Recovery is, and then there's a subdivision of it for their children and their teens. And so we also work with their children and their teens while the parents are going through the basic book program and stuff. We're doing programs with their children and youth to, give them healthy habits and healthy ways to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kate, it being in a church or a church-associated group doesn't disqualify anybody being awarded these funds.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. That's a great question. One thing we didn't talk about, Cindy, I'm just going to jump in, is there is a section in the application that talks about what community you will be serving. And we are trying to make these funds, we're trying to prioritize these funds going to organizations that happen to be serving risk youth who are at more risk of substance use. So make sure that you note that in your application. That may be mental health, that may be LGBTQ+, that may be BIPOC youth. Just think through that as well, because that is one scoring criteria of the application as well.
Yeah, thanks again. Right, so that is the last of the slides that we have to share. So we're just going to open it up to any other questions that anyone has, or if there's any ideas you want to share, anything about the application we can go over as well. We're going to open it up.
Hey, my name is Monica. I'm with the Kitsap Immigrant Assistance Center. Wondering if we've had a project in mind potentially for a while, doing a youth mural. So it'd be like a short-term project, but like a few different meetings with youth, like helping design it and whatever. Is that something that this could fund?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, those are such cool projects. I'm excited to see what everyone comes up with. Any other questions?
One of the project is mostly the time that you're delivering it as opposed to the materials that you're using. Can you go toward hours for the staff?
Yeah, I can go towards staffing. We just ask that that in there's a little budget section, so you know the amount, if you know, or the estimated amount in that section, or if you're gonna be using stipends as well, to incentivize youth or any volunteers. Mhm. Emily, did you have your hand raised? Yeah.
Good afternoon, this is Emily Main. I'm one of our Port Gamble Slalom Tribe grant writers. I work with Ms. Steph Carpenter. And so my question on assistance point is this, if there is indirect required through Port Gamble, is that something that this grant allows for? I know that the amount is so small. Any feedback along the indirect piece? And then my second question is it open to more than one program within a tribe to apply? So if the youth and another program that this grant application would also apply to, is that permissible, or is it just one application per organization or tribe?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I think the same thing goes regarding your second question. The same, it'd be similar answer to how we answered about the schools. I'm thinking that each club or each program or each group would have to submit their own application. It's a really great question about the indirect. Really great question. I don't know if we thought about Sydney.
No, I don't have an answer for you right now.
Just because I have worked under this grant funding through the Department of Health for 4 years, and they are not a huge fan of indirect, even though we all need indirect. But I would need to bring that up the chain to the Department of Health. It's an excellent question that we should have considered.
So to follow up, so you guys are going to follow on the indirect, but just want to make sure that I'm clear that more than one program within an agency or an independent sovereign nation such as us, we can submit more than one application for program X, Y, and Z. And three, more than one independent application.
Yes. So if you have different youth groups doing different projects, we'll ask that they independently fill out the application.
Okay.
I think it's the same situation as the ESD, but it would be the tribe is the agency or organization applying.
Yes. Tribe is
Yes.
overarching umbrella, but various programs within our tribe. And then if there happens to be a youth who would be involved with two programs, but two different mini grants, is that a problem? Is that an ethical issue? I do not know that's going to happen. I'm just looking at a system point of view in terms of what the parameters you guys pointed out.
I don't think it should be a problem. No, I don't know if Megan has it, but I don't think it will be. Good question.
Yeah, it is a really great question. I think it will really depend on yeah, we'd love to hear each of those groups or each of those clubs referring to schools or each project may have different goals. So we're not really judging, I guess, on if the youth tend to go to both. If you're doing two events, for example, and the youth go to both, that would be exaggerated benefit, right? So I would base it off of, applying for the project and not necessarily qualifying yourself if the youth double dip.
So to clarify, then the ESD can write multiple applications because it totally would be different projects at different school sites.
Yes, yes. Yeah, let's just say it clearly that one organization, if you have multiple different projects, especially if you're a really large umbrella agency or sovereign nation, then you can apply to multiple.
Again, how many total awards does the Department of Health have funds for at $3,000 a mini grant?
So the awards are coming from us. We have a set amount of dollars that we're giving away, but based on the applications, we ask that you request the amount that you need and not, like, if you don't need the full 3,000, we request that you note that. But generally we're probably looking around 5 or 6, just based on how many applications we get and what those dollar amounts look like.
So you have $15,000 to $18,000 total? Thanks.
Yes, and keep in mind that's for Kitsap. If your organization or partners are regional, then our partners at Jefferson Public Health will also be doing this in Clallam and in Jefferson. A few things I was noted about in the chat. The one deliverable that we're expecting out of this is we have like a regional network, and we would love for all of the awardees to be able to present to us. This is in the application, but just saying it out loud. To be able to present your project to us by the end of the year, meaning by the end of June, be able to present to our group briefly about what you did with the funds, and if you had youth come, it doesn't have to be youth presenting, it could be the adult facilitator or something, but that's really the one deliverable that we're asking for. And the other thing that is in the application that someone alerted me to in the chat is we will be awarding these funds. The awardees, we Kitsap Public Health will be working with the awardees to determine when you need the funds. So if your group needs the funds right up front, then we're going to work with you on that. If your group is able to do like half, split the funds in 2, that's great. Or if you want to just invoice us at the end of the year, that's great too. But just know we're trying to keep it very low barrier so that we don't have all these groups trying to do work with, no money up front. And if that's what you need, then we will work with you.
Dana, do you have a question or something to add?
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I was just going to actually clarify for Kate. I think Megan was referring to there's Olympic Prevention Partnership Program, and that's the funding through this, the Youth Cannabis Prevention and Commercial Tobacco Prevention Program. And it's a regional group that meets just for the Olympic Prevention Partnership, and it wouldn't be the Kitsap County Department of Health. But if someone is very interested in presenting to that, we could explore that option too, but it would just be the regional virtual meeting and not the
And that will be super informal. You don't have to give like a 20-minute presentation on your project. We just want to hear, how it went, what your outcomes were, and any feedback that you process. Thanks, Dana. Any other questions? Anything in the application? Any specific questions in there that we can go over?
There's a question in the chat if funds can be used for materials. And yes, that is true. you can use for materials. But the funds are very clear that the materials can't be like, purchasing stickers or pencils, like in bulk orders for your, like a social norms campaign like that. So if it's materials that happen to bring youth together or bring families together or something, great, but not just materials. Does that make sense? Okay.
Megan, that makes me think that a social norms campaign probably wouldn't match the funding because most of the money would be spent on the materials with whatever whatever the teens determined was the campaign message. Then that would not be an appropriate application, correct?
I think it depends on what they decide to do, Michelle. I'm thinking of, I think you remember when our partners in Clown County made that video for the movie theater up there. That was the social norms campaign, but it was, it wasn't like necessarily passing out, like getting brochures made and things like that. So I think,
so it's a maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, that's fine.
I like to be unclear, but yeah, maybe if you're bringing the youth together and getting them to talk about something that's important to them, or building skills, or youth teaching others, which it kind of sounded like you were thinking, Michelle, like youth facilitating the, campaign, then, just put it down on paper and we do have to bring all of these ideas up to our funders at the Department of Health. So it does need to pass through the grant guidelines. And if anybody is interested in knowing more details about that, you're welcome to email Sydney or I. The way we have worded it does pass the grant.
I think she froze for a second, but the way it's worded in the application is past the grant guidelines. We've already run it through them. So, and if you do have any questions about, going forward, or any ideas that you'd like to throw at us, we can review those with you and let you know if you're on the right track as well. So feel free to email either one of us. Any other questions? We reserved a lot of time just in case. We don't have to stay here the whole time, but I want to make sure everyone has their answers or their questions answered. Yes, Emily.
Pardon, one last question. Is there a time frame in which funds that are awarded need to be used, for example, within 6 months or a year of being awarded?
Yes, by June 15th of 2023. So just about 5 months time.
And is there a follow-up report of how those funds were needed? Is that required?
Yes, in the application it states by June 15th we'll require a report, but also there's the presentation at the regional network meeting as well.
And you said, I'm so sorry. So by June 30th, the funds have to be used?
I believe it's June 15th.
June 15th, okay.
Let me double check. Yes, June 15th is the deadline.
Thank you.
Good question. And anyone who does receive funds, we will be doing just like simple monthly check-ins. It can just be a phone call or an email or a video chat, like whatever is easiest for you, just to check in to see if everything's on track, if there's any assistance needed to implement your project. Any final questions before I let you go for the evening?
You want to put your email in the chat, Sydney?
Yes.
Just as the point person? And if you know other youth-serving organizations that are not here today, please feel free to forward it. I know they would technically be your competition, but we do, you know, we don't assume that we reached everybody, and want to make sure that all the youth-serving organizations at least see the opportunity.
All right, well, if no one has any other questions, I think we are good to go for the evening. If you do have any questions or any concerns, please email me. You can email Megan as well, and then we will work with you to address those. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.